Coming up next on WBHS 9 News, a simple pass from quarterback to receiver. But there's a life-changing story behind this play.
She jumps, flips, and tumbles, but this cheerleader has a disease that would keep most of us off the court.
And the most popular restaurant in Brentwood is closing its doors. Those stories and more next on Channel 9 News.
Good afternoon, Brentwood High School. I'm Sam Dillard.
And I'm Cameron Johanchis. Here's what's making news.
He's been playing sports his entire life. That's until a doctor said it could kill him. Channel 9's Matthew King has an inspiring story of one middle schooler who is allowed back on the field for one more play.
Here's the snap, and it's going to be caught. Owen Bergen, unable to play this year, makes his first catch. And it's a memorable one for sure.
Brentwood Middle School 8th grader Owen Bergen was diagnosed with a heart condition 2 years ago. He was told he couldn't play any competitive sports ever again. That is, until his football coach allowed him to play for 2 plays in the final game of the season.
When I was in 6th grade, I was playing basketball and I was on a travel team and we were in Bowling Green, Kentucky playing, and I passed out. And we ended up going to the hospital, and I was diagnosed with enlarged aorta and a bicuspid aortic valve.
And the doctor said, unfortunately, that means you're not going to be able to play competitive sports anymore. And that was just really not anything any of us ever imagined for Owen.
Having played football and basketball for Brentwood, it was kind of upsetting.
Despite Owen's condition, he still had a place on the BMS football team.
Well, when I first heard about Owen's heart condition, I just felt totally sad because I know he's a competitive person and athlete, and for him not to be able to do the things he wants to do, it was very sad for me.
Coach Harrison, the football coach at Brentwood, approached me and talked to me about how they wanted me to keep in contact with the team and all that.
I knew that he couldn't play, and I knew he wanted to be around the team. So his role this year on the team involved him mostly as a coach slash advisor to us as coaches. He helped us with that, and he did a very good job. I basically put him in charge of running backs.
Nearing the end of their football season, Coach Harrison approached Owen with the proposition, a chance to play in the last game.
He just came to me with this idea, hey, what if you dressed out for this game and caught a pass, just like old times and stuff. And I thought it was a pretty cool idea.
The snap was made and the pass was caught. Owen describes what playing again means to him.
It felt really good just to know everybody cared about me enough that they would go through all that. And it was pretty fun being able to dress up again and go out there and play.
Matthew King, WBHS 9.
Brentwood students are preparing for the worst as their favorite restaurant will temporarily close. Starting in January, Chick-fil-A will close for remodeling. Chick-fil-A is the busiest restaurant in Brentwood, with lines often wrapping around the building and even stretching onto Franklin Road. In fact, the local franchise is one of the busiest in the nation. Owner Barry Hooper says the remodel is needed so workers can serve customers faster.
In 2018, we're going to be doing a complete remodel, the dining room and the kitchen, and a building expansion on the back. And the reason for this is that we've just outgrown the current building from a capacity standpoint that actually affects the people working here and the customer experience. And it'll be an 8-week project, closed down for 4 weeks.
The remodeling is expected to take about 1 month.
Remodeling of another kind on Brentwood's busiest street. After nearly 10 years of planning, Franklin Road is being widened from 2 lanes to 5. The widening starts at Concord Road and just runs south of Moores Lane, near Sonic. Construction is expected to take until October 2020, causing major headaches for drivers and residents who live along that stretch of road. After 8 years under Bill Haslam, it's time for Tennessee to elect a new governor. For some Brentwood High students, it'll be their first chance to vote. Channel 9's Taggart Nadesty is at the state capitol with more.
Young voters often have a big impact on elections. It's one reason Barack Obama won the presidency in 2008, and it's one reason candidates for governor try to get their message out a year before the election.
Before this race, he was our capital city's mayor. Next fall, he hopes to be elected to the state of Tennessee's highest office, governor.
I've run and been elected the mayor of Nashville twice, and when you run for mayor in Nashville, you run in nonpartisan elections, so you have to appeal to Democrats, Republicans, and independents. And when you are mayor, you don't really do things on a party line, you do them to move the city forward, to try to make people's lives better, and that's what I would want to do for the state.
Mayor Dean spoke first about what Tennessee should offer younger demographics of voters.
Giving our young people high-quality education will put them in a position to succeed in whatever they decide to do in life. Young people want to live in a state where there are opportunities, where they can get a good job, and where they can live a good life, and Tennessee should offer all of that.
Across the whole state of Tennessee, most voters tend to be similarly minded.
Got to go to urban and rural and suburban areas, and the issues that the people talk about are the same, whether you're in a big city or in a small town. And people just want government to work.
There's a famous quote that goes that there's no Democrat or Republican way about filling a pothole. People just want the pothole filled.
Earlier this year at Brentwood High School, eligible students had the opportunity to register to vote during lunch. But voter registration doesn't seem to be the biggest issue of this race.
Tennessee ranks 50th in voter turnout, so young voters could make a huge impact in this race. Because turnout's so low, young people can have their voices heard even more.
One of the ways to change that is for young people to get involved, to take the time to register, and then to vote.
The message seems to be that no matter who you plan to vote for, to just get out and vote.
It's important that people participate in our form of government and in democracy.
Needless to say, the Carl Dean campaign would not let me leave their offices without a voter registration form. In addition to Carl Dean, State Senator May Beavers, State Representative Beth Harwell, and U.S. Congresswoman Diane Black are among those running for governor. Sam, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Taggart. Election Day is November 6th. If you want to vote in the 2018 election, please register by October.
The 2018 election is just one of many topics Brentwood students discussed with their U.S. congressmen. As part of Constitution Day, Marsha Blackburn met with Brentwood High government and economics students over Skype. They discussed the current political climate in Washington, bipartisan rivalries, and tensions between the U.S. and North Korea. This was the second straight year Blackburn talked with Brentwood students over Skype.
Some Nashville residents are giving back to the community in a unique way this Christmas season. Help Portrait is a movement dedicated to not just taking, but giving pictures. Channel 9's Garrett Linney has more.
Here at Crosspoint.tv in downtown Nashville, a unique charity organization is holding its annual event. Help Portrait is an organization devoted to showing the true beauty of disadvantaged people.
Hey, my name is Jeremy Cowart. I am the founder of Help Portrait. I just wanted to do something during the holidays with our time and our gifts to help anybody in need, whether it's your next door neighbor or people at the mission or just anybody who could use something for Christmas.
Help Portrait serves the community by providing a combination of hairstyling, makeup, and photography, among other services. Head of Hair and Makeup, Jennifer Provencher, explains the makeover process.
Pretty much what we do is have them sit in the chair and kind of ask them what it is that they want to do today. It's usually adding a little curl, adding a little body, straightening their hair if their hair is curly, making them feel pretty, making them look pretty, and kind of the same in makeup. Usually we can't do a full makeover on people, but even out their skin tone, putting a little foundation on, giving them a happy lip, bringing attention to their eyes. So that's kind of what we focused on this year, is asking what they want to bring out about themselves, and then that's what our people have been working on.
After guests have gone to hair and makeup, they have their pictures taken by one of many professional photographers. Guests pick their favorite photograph, and volunteers use computer software to edit it to perfection. Then, it is printed, and guests may select a picture frame to their liking. But Help Portrait means more than simply taking pictures. Help Portrait's true impact lies in the connections people make.
God bless y'all. We have Merry Christmas to y'all too. It makes us feel very special and blessed that we have an opportunity to enjoy this pleasant weekend and pleasant day to be here. By the grace of God, we're thankful.
It makes me feel really great because otherwise I wouldn't be able to do all this. I wouldn't be able to do the hair and the makeup, and just the whole atmosphere here is just terrific. It's just lots of happiness. You can feel it in the air.
You never know what the person next to you is going through. And sometimes the smallest little gesture can make their day.
and really make a difference in their life. I'm a single parent with 3 children, and God made a way that I could come here today and eat, make up pictures with my family, and enjoy the smiles on everyone's faces, and that's awesome.
We have to just reach out and love each other no matter what our backgrounds are, no matter what our beliefs are. You know, we're all in this world for a short time together, and we just got to embrace each other and love one another and serve one another, most importantly, and that's truly what Help Portrait is about.
Garrett Linney, WBHS 9.
Just ahead, a brave cheerleader who's overcome a debilitating disease.
Also coming up, the ultimate stamp collector with postage stamps dating back almost a century. You're watching WBHS 9 News. I won't show you any pictures. I'll just give you a number. 3.5 million. The number of Americans impacted by the devastation of Hurricane Maria. The number of Americans sleeping in shelters because their homes were swept away. The number of Americans without power because a nationwide electrical grid was knocked out. The number of Americans at risk of cholera because there is no clean drinking water. Those Americans cannot and will not be left in the dark. We are in this together.
Elise Weimer is a cheerleader with a secret. Even though she has scoliosis, you'll see her on the sidelines every week cheering at Brentwood High basketball games. Channel 9's Dawn Neiman has more on her remarkable story.
She's been cheering since she was 5 years old. Blaze football tumbling classes premier cheer, Brentwood Middle School. Now 15, Elise Weimer just made the Brentwood High School basketball cheer team.
I've been cheering for 10 years, about 10 years.
But there's a big difference between Elise and her teammates. 2 years ago, she was diagnosed with scoliosis.
Scoliosis is the curvature of a spine, and it can be like either really small or it can be very large.
Elise is one of 9 million Americans who have scoliosis. Symptoms include back, neck, and shoulder pain, as well as limited mobility. Not good attributes for a cheerleader.
And in the past years, Elise's was just perfectly normal, just like anybody else's would be. And then one year we went, and all of a sudden, her right shoulder blade was significantly higher. So the pediatrician recognized it, sent her for an x-ray, and it came out with a 17-degree curve. So you watch that for a couple of years, you continue to take x-rays. Nothing happened, and then all of a sudden, one year she jumped from 17 to 20.
Now Elise has to wear a back brace except when she cheers.
So my back brace, it's like foam on the inside, then glued to plastic. And it's like literally formed to me. It's kind of like a plaster mold. I haven't really had anything that affects my cheer, but I have gotten injuries like from the brace and just from cheer. Like I broke my finger and now it's crooked. And then now my rib cage is just twisted, so where like maybe a few ribs poke out.
The real problem doesn't come from her brace or her back. Her coach listened to her, but didn't let Elise use the pain as an excuse.
The last 2 years, she has had a coach who presses really hard, but I mean within reason. I mean she wasn't going to allow Elise to kind of sit back and use anything as an excuse, knowing that it wasn't really going to hold her back. So she continued to teach her and continued to just kind of, listen to her when she was in pain, but also not let her kind of play the pain card too much.
For my coach, it didn't really give me an excuse to affect my cheer.
The push from her coach helped Elise push to be her very best. Her all-star cheer squad finished second in the nation.
So I've just kind of seen her confidence level grow with the tumbling. It's rumored that she is a pretty good back spot. I don't know if she is or not. But other mothers that know what they're looking at tell me that she is. So, I mean, that's impressive. So it's just become a really big confidence boost.
So what's next for Elise Weimer?
Just be open with what it is. Like, you can't really care anymore about it because if it's going to hold you back.
Dawn Newman, WBHS 9 News.
Congratulations to the Brentwood Bruinettes dance team on their state win. The Bruinettes won their first state title in 7 years at MTSU. They now move on to the national competition in Orlando. Art students have been practicing their art not just in the classroom, but in the hallways as well. 3D art students in Lindsay Wagner's class used masking tape to create everything from Taco Bell to downtown Nashville. This lesson was meant to teach students the principle of one-point perspective, which creates depth in a design.
Big history can often be found in the smallest of places. Christopher Spielman reports on his dad's rediscovered childhood stamp collection.
Mira, partiendo acá atrás, mira qué cool estas. Son grandes, ¿qué tal, no?
Rodolfo Spielman, a Chilean immigrant and local Brentwood resident, recently uncovered an amazing collection, a bag full of postage stamps from over the course of several decades, events, and countries.
I think I was probably 10 to 12 years old, and actually I inherited that idea from my dad. He started collecting stamps when he was in middle school. He told me that he took every time he worked for something, he saved some money, he went and buy some stamps. So he gave me his collection, and I started increasing it and playing with it. So.
Some bear the faces of many famous world leaders like Eisenhower, Evita, Hitler, or Franco. Others mark events like the 1972 Munich Olympics or the 1980 Moscow Olympics. Still others track history in motion, from the independence of Fiji to the fight against nuclear weapons in Rwanda to World War II.
I started collecting stamps in the early 80s in Chile, so no internet and things like that. And some of the countries I couldn't figure out. This is one, for example, which is like, I don't know if you see it, so it's like 3D, like holographic stamp, and it had some Arabic in it, so I honestly had no clue. I actually created this book. I have every page is a different country, and this page means this is Spanish for I don't know. Yeah, so I have a bunch of Magyar, Posta, and I couldn't figure out where that was because this country didn't exist in the 80s. Yeah, and then I started to figure these things out. So that's.
With mementos from all over the world, this stamp collection offers a nice retrospective on the growing state of an increasingly more connected world.
When I was seeing them, I was thinking, where is this? And I couldn't even imagine where the continent or how people lived, etc. Now you can check the stamp and say, okay, how does that look like? And clearly you can Google, find the country, go to a Wikipedia article, and figure out what's going on there. So clearly I think it's a lot smaller. So for me, this reminds me of a time that the world was very big, and there were a lot of things there that I didn't know about.
Cristobal Spielman, WBHS 9 News.
That story gets my stamp of approval.
Wow, bad joke. But you know what's not a joke? The Bruins hockey team. They're undefeated this season.
Ryan Shumpert with the latest sports when we come back. I pledge addiction
to the drug of the United States of America
and to the pandemic
for which we fall.
One nation,
overdosed,
inseparable.
From addiction, independence for all.
Work hard, play hard. Work, 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 work. On diamonds all in my ring, player. Gold watches, gold chain, player. $100,000 champagne, player. Yeah, my money insane, player. Yeah, I'm making it rain, player. But I was just on a plane, player. Buying gear, flying here. It ain't what you heard, it's my time of year. If I'm in the club, I get 100 stacks. I'm always so I get love for that. I heard he stole my swag, but I don't want it back. I was on this, but now I'm on to that. You see it in my closet, for it's on the rack. Was out there in Hawaii, now I'm going back. I got so much money, I should start a bank. So much paper right in front of me, it's hard to think. Buy so many bottles, it's gonna be hard to drink. But I'm still growing up, and my family here, and they so the bigger the bill, the harder you ball.
Bruins hockey team is heating up the ice, and big changes on the girls basketball team.
WBHS 9 Sports Director Ryan Schumpert is here with Ryan's review.
The Brentwood hockey team improved to 9-0 Monday night with a 5-3 win over NBA. 5 different players scored and goalie Ryan Bobrow got the win. The Bruins are ranked number 2 in the state and are looking ahead to their January 8th matchup versus number 1 Ravenwood. The Brentwood boys basketball team is off to a hot start with a 9-1 record. The Bruins are currently leading the District 11 AAA standings with a 3-0 record, including close wins over Franklin and Summit. Up next for the Bruins is a battle against crosstown rival Ravenwood tomorrow night. After a disappointing 2016-17 season, the Lady Bruins basketball team has been re-energized under first-year coach Miles Thrash. I talked to Coach Thrash and senior guard Izzy Franco about the coach's past in this year's team. When Miles Thrash was named the Brentwood girls basketball coach this fall, he brought years of basketball experience.
I'm originally from Mobile, Alabama. I played high school basketball in Alabama, Mattie T. Blunt High School. And then I went to college, Stillman College, which is in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. After Stillman College, I graduated. I went and played overseas for 8 years. I played overseas. I played in the NBA Developmental League. I got a brief stint in the NBA, Clippers and the Grizzlies a little bit. After that, I officially retired.
After coaching middle school boys and becoming a high school assistant, Coach Thrash has had to adjust to a new dynamic coaching high school girls.
That's a huge learning curve. Always a learning curve when you're dealing with high school sports. But yeah, it's a very good learning curve. And I had a lot of good people help me on along this way to make this transition.
With the lack of post players, the 2017-2018 Lady Bruins like to push the pace.
Well, we really want to play up tempo. We want to be fast. You know, that's to our strengths. We want to play fast. We want to try to score a lot. So I feel we'll be very entertaining to watch.
The Lady Bruins struggled last year, but look to improve on an already hot start to this season.
The biggest thing is to just learn from last year, to be able to just make better choices and make better decisions on the floor, and just continue to grow as a team.
Ravenwood is up next for the Lady Bruins as the Raptors come to Brentwood tomorrow night. The Brentwood wrestling team hasn't skipped a beat this year after head coach Joe Blair retired. Co-head coaches Damon Smith and Patrick Curran have the Bruins 7-0 before tonight's matchup against Independence. The first match is at 6 p.m. in the Campbell Center. Back to you, Sam.
Thanks, Ryan. He's been racing sailboats on Tennessee lakes for nearly 20 years, but Rick Fielder has a disease that would keep many off the water. Don Neiman has more from Old Hickory Lake.
He's been racing for more than 20 years, starting with NASCAR, then following in his dad's footsteps into sailboats. After many years on the water, Rick Fielder enjoys life with his boat, dog, and friends. But there's a difference between Rick and his crewmates. For as long as he can remember, he has had type 1 diabetes.
So I've been a diabetic about 43 years, I believe. Since I was a kid, I don't remember not having diabetes. My pancreas doesn't secrete insulin. Like I'm on an insulin pump, which is pretty much an artificial pancreas. Then when you want to eat, you put in how many calories or carbohydrates you want to eat, and it calculates the dosage for you.
Rick is one of the 3 million Americans with type 1 diabetes. He has to watch his blood sugar and what he eats.
I always have the glucose tablets handy. With the excitement and the energy you use racing, you learn how to adjust your diet and insulin intake to control it.
The need for speed fuels Rick. The thrill of racing pushes him to do well at sailing regattas.
So we've been doing pretty well locally in regattas, winning races and finishing up pretty high in a lot of the races, and got a few wins under our belt earlier this year. So we were invited to go to the J30 North American Championships. That was held in New Orleans. So we spent the summer prepping the boat, tweaking things, some new lines and new rigging, and sanding the bottom down, getting the bottom real smooth. And we got a good group together, good crew together with 6 of us on board. And we loaded the boat up on the trailer and went to New Orleans for the 7 races and had a blast. The goal was to be conservative and just go to learn. And everybody on board learned quite a bit. I've never been in a race of that caliber. These were the best J30 racers in the world, and we did quite well.
Brick flows upon the water and wants others to join his crew.
Take the time to go on one trip, whether it's racing or just sailing around the lake, and you'll probably be hooked forever.
On Old Hickory Lake, Dawn Neiman, WBHS 9 News.
It's already setting box office records.
Star Wars The Last Jedi opened this past weekend.
Channel 9's Billy Mahaffey reviews the latest installment in the Star Wars franchise.
On December 14th, 2017, Star Wars fans new and old gathered at the AMC Dine-In Thoroughbred Theater in Franklin, Tennessee for the premiere event of Star Wars The Last Jedi.
We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down. Come on!
This event, in typical Star Wars fashion, was surrounded with loads of hype and excitement.
I've got to say, this movie probably has the most hype of any movie I've seen all year. And, I mean, it's Star Wars. What can you say? It's always going to have hype, and it's always going to be exciting.
While some fans are excited for a new Star Wars film nonetheless, others were excited for the series to take a new spin on things.
I take a lot more risks with this one, given that the first movie in this trilogy, they really played it safe, and I think they're trying to appease the fans a little bit more with this one.
May the Force be with you. Billy Mahaffey, WBHS 9.
You've seen it, Sam. What did you think?
I liked it a lot, Cameron. I thought it had a lot of great action in it.
I couldn't agree more.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Sam Dillard.
And I'm Cameron Johansius. We leave you with video from the Brentwood Luminaries, which were on display throughout the city this past weekend.